You know, I learned a few things in life. Is it working now? Few things. This is very interesting to me. I remember when I was a little kid, I was trying to think about this. When I was a little kid, I remember my father taking myself and my little sister to Catholic Church yearly fundraising bazaar, they called it. I don't know why they call it a bazaar, but they would have these little games. And I remember I was maybe 10 years old, and my little sister 5 years old. She was still cute. I had lost my cuteness by that time. And my little sister was still really cute. I remember my dad going around. My dad would, pay a dime or a quarter, whatever it was, and the little kids would play little games, right? And there was one game that my little sister really liked, and that was it was a fishing game. Maybe you guys have seen little kids do that at school fundraisers. They have a fishing pole, and they have a clothespin, and then the little kid holds it behind a screen, and then somebody attaches a little toy to it. You ever seen that? And then they pull it back, and they're really happy. My little sister, I remember, was just absolutely delighted to win some, rubbery toy or whatever it was, right? Something obviously worth less than a dime. Anyhow, she really enjoyed that. Now, me just being who I am, asked my dad, well, Dad, do you want to play any games? And my dad is a pre-World War II man. Pre-World War II men don't emote, right? He said, no. No. I don't want to play games. I'm not a kid. Right? That's what my dad would say, something like that. He said this, I'm happy just seeing you kids have fun. Isn't that interesting? It's deeply philosophical. It's deeply meaningful about this understanding of our heavenly parent. Why would God create a whole world full of flowers and music and trees and animals and delicious fruits and things like that if he's not going to eat any of it? Because the heavenly parent is happy if you eat it. The heavenly parent is happy if you have fun climbing trees. The heavenly parent is happy if you enjoy riding animals, horses or whatever it is. We would assume it's a horse you're thinking of. Anyhow, let's keep going. Last week, Reverend Dr. Michael Balcom was here. I had a great time with him. His sermon was Just Like God. You remember that? Some of you guys enjoyed his program here. There's everybody. There's a picture of him, and some of us got in the national news. And it seemed like what everybody really liked the most was not the sermon. The sermon was great. If this goes, everybody hears this, the sermon was great. But what we liked was being able to just sit around and talk to the president at the Unification Church like he's just one of us, just a brother with just more access to information and things like that, right? Didn't you guys like that? Here's Robert Enyard, Dr. Balcom, John, Toshiko-san, Solange, Andy, Alan, and Rosa Davies, and Hiromi-san, different brothers and sisters. It was nice, wasn't it? I think we spoke there for a couple of hours and asked many questions and got some nice answers. I then later took him sightseeing. He wanted to go sightseeing. He had never gone sightseeing in San Diego. So I took him to different places. This is La Jolla Cove. And of course, by the way, if you guys haven't seen it, we did get into the Unification Church national news. So I thought I'd show this to you. You guys ready? Has anybody seen this? That's us.
My goal to visit some of our smaller communities, at least one of them, and find out how brothers and sisters are doing as they address the overriding goal of witnessing and outreach. What I found is that many churches are simply in need of a concrete vision of how to begin. In my sermon, I talked about the importance of sharing and regular giving.
There we are.
It's very difficult to witness or do evangelism if you're just by yourself. Once you have a partner, someone who can share the vision with you, it becomes so much simpler to go out.
Now, I didn't get that from the sermon myself, by the way.
Walter Frank has been serving the San Diego community for many years. He introduces some of the members of his church. Well, welcome to
Rosa Davies.
Situation. So I'm grateful for Dr. Malcolm, not just teaching us a sermon, but to just take one little point and to change ourselves. And in this way, we can be changing ourselves and our families and then everyone else.
This year, we're really going to make a difference here in San Diego because he has inspired us incredibly to really look forward towards the future and bring victory for our Heavenly Father and true parents.
We have the most incredible teacher on the face of the earth. The challenge is to get out there with it. One way or the other, through media, social media. Get it on TV. You've got cable stations. Get out there with it. We have the best show in town. It's time to really get out there with it.
I feel this is going to be a great year because people really understand what we believe, who we are, and there are so many choices on what we can do in order to make this a better world. And I hope that you'll be a part of it too.
Thank you, Walter. Thank you, everyone in San Diego who made me so welcome. I look forward to visiting more communities as spring comes in. Let's celebrate True Parents Day together with great heart and determination. God bless you and have a great week. Thank you.
Thank you. Amen. Thank everybody for coming. Wasn't that nice? That was, I thought that was nice of Dr. Belcom. You know, it's a nice touch. It's a nice touch, one, to come out and be with different brothers and sisters, and two, and then to let everybody know that's what he's doing. He got to spend time with us and put all your handsome, beautiful faces on national television. So thanks for coming to support Dr. Belcom. Everybody of you who did come, thank you very much. And thank you for being here today. Church is meaningful, obviously, to myself and to yourselves. We've been doing this for a long time. True Father always believed in church. Jesus is the one who began church services on Sunday. And we come to worship God together for various reasons. One is simply to fellowship together, right? Have fun, talk, drink coffee. And to edify the saints who are you and us. Saint edification is what we do here. And to share the Word of God so we understand what we're trying to share with other people. And also, very importantly, to offer tithes. We always believe our relationship with God has to be substantial. It can't be just saying I like God. There has to be a substantial commitment of your faith. And so we collect tithes every week based on what we received during the last week. Right? I do believe that's really important. That connection with God is what saves us at the end. And, of course, to prepare for this coming week. So thank you very much. And, of course, springtime's here, right? Springtime, it's warmer. It's warmer, and you got a smiley face. Isn't that cute? People send me these smiley face things. First, I didn't know what they were doing. I thought, what kind of punctuation is that? Then I realized, it's a smiley face. Sunny days are longer, see, and then you get another smiley face. But San Diego is not so many flowers blooming, and then you get a sad face. See that? Siapa and I were in Connecticut one spring, and it's just unbelievable what spring is like in the Northeast, right? And True Father used to talk about that all the time. Spring is resurrection. Spring is new life. Spring is incredible. But because we have no flowers, then you get a sad face with a nose. I thought that was creative. You get a sad face with a nose on it. Sure you do. Anyhow, tomorrow is our official True Parents Day. So we're going to discuss a little bit about true parents inheriting the image of God and what that really means, and we'll discuss that. True Parents Day is a day we celebrate the ideal of true parents. Doesn't everybody wish they had true parents? Right? Don't all you kids, doesn't everyone wish that they had true, perfect parents? If only, maybe in school you kids say, if only my parents had been stricter, or more lenient, or more loving, or less embarrassing, or richer, or smarter, or better looking, or better educated, right? People always wish, I wish I had had perfect parents, then I wouldn't be here right now. Does that make sense? A lot of people have this deep desire, this deep inborn wish to have true parents. So we say the original purpose of creation was the image of God, and that the original image of God is true parents, that true parent. We say Adam and Eve would be born as children, originally speaking, then grow to perfected maturity and become one with God on an individual level as man and woman, and then be blessed in marriage by God and know true love. And then they would create from that fierce oneness of unity with God's love. Right? It would be like your father was Jesus and your mother was true perfected Eve, who wasn't in the picture, unfortunately, at that time. Anyhow, from that incredible love relationship, then you would be a child that would grow up to automatically become one with God. You would automatically become one with God. And all the secrets of the universe would be revealed to you, and you would fulfill your real position on earth as a true man and a true woman. And then you would do it all over again. Then you would get married, and then you would be blessed, and then you would create more children, and altogether we would make one family of mankind under God. And there'd be no limit to human potential. That's really the message of divine principle. There's no limit to human potential. One of the reasons the universe is so big is because human beings are not supposed to be earthbound. We're supposed to create impulse drives and worm drives and drive through space and go to other planets and other we're supposed to. It may take a while, but that's what we're supposed to do. That's how everything works. That's how the pattern of life works throughout all the world. One cell becomes 400 trillion cells in your body. One cell becomes all life on earth. It happens over and over again, so it shouldn't be surprising to people. One of the universal pattern, there's a universal pattern of the image of parents, right? That we just see in nature all the time, and it's just obvious, isn't it? For example, amoebas, what do? Right? If you go to, what was that? They multiply, right? They multiply. If you go to biology, how many people went to biology class in college? What are the four, anybody remember the 4 definitions of life? I didn't think so. We're just going to, do you? What are they? Stop there, that's enough. They reproduce. God bless you, you got the first one perfectly right. Listen. Amoebas reproduce baby amoebas, right? You might think that's basic biology. That's the first definition of life, is that amoebas make amoebas, and rats make baby rats, right? It's not strange or unusual. In fact, this is all life on Earth, all life on the whole planet, right? Baby elephants, you would expect baby elephants naturally to grow up to become elephants. See? It's such a simple understanding of life, is that parents beget children who become like them, right? That's the whole point or understanding of God creating an image of himself called true children, or called divine human beings. See, baby elephants naturally grow to become elephants and to do elephant things, right? Same with lions, bears, whales, crawfish, beavers. Beavers grow up to become beavers, right? It's automatic. They become the image of their parents, because that's a principle of the universe that nobody can change. Nobody and nothing can change this pattern of life, and that is you must become the image of your parents. Lions cannot grow up to become bears and do bear things. Lions can't hibernate in the winter, can they? No, they can't do bear things. Lions do lion things. Bears do divine things. Human beings are supposed to do human things, right? Human children should naturally grow up to become divine spirits. Now we know of all the creatures, lions must become lions. Human beings have this special autonomy. We have this special free will because we were supposed to become voluntary. We were supposed to voluntarily honor our divine parents. You're supposed to naturally do that, not by command or not by law. Elephants, by law, must become elephants. They can't do something else. Beavers, by law, must become beavers, but there's no law that makes you be a child of God. You have to volunteer for that. You have to say, yes, Father, I appreciate all you've done for me, and I'm going to be like you. I'm going to do everything for other people too. I'm going to love my wife. I'm going to love my children. I'm going to love the animals. I'm going to love the trees. I voluntarily do it. because humans have free will, right? We say God is our original true parent. That Jesus Christ and the Holy Spirit are our spiritual true parents, and on earth, Reverend Moon and Reverend Hak Jahan are the representatives of true parents on earth. That's our belief, that God sends prophets, sends leaders, sends his representatives on earth, and people can voluntarily support that or not. Jews could voluntarily support Moses, or they could reject Moses, right? Because humans have free will. Okay. So what is the image of God? What's the image of God really look like? Right? We used to always say, okay, when we had a blackboard, we say, now we're going to draw the image of God. We're going to draw God for you. Then we look at the board, and then we say, wait a minute. God's too big to draw. Besides, he's invisible. So what's the image of God really like? Okay? First, we decide what's really humanness. What's our real human nature like? Is human nature a product strictly of material biology? Of course not. Of course, you guys already know the answer. Okay, we're going to do a couple of video tours. We're going to do a couple of video tours of people of enormous courage, sacrifice, and bravery. For example, Jeffrey Adams has always lived his life with integrity. He was just 4 credit hours away from earning a degree in mechanical engineering from Louisiana State University when things went in a different direction. Instead of walking across the graduation stage wearing a cap and gown, Jeffrey Adams chose to walk the roadsides of Baghdad, Iraq, wearing body armor and a helmet, looking for improvised explosive devices. So, I'm going to show you his story. This is a site you can go to, and I suggest that you do. It's called the Wounded Warrior Sites. And on the Wounded Warrior Sites, they have these amazing stories of people who have overcome unbelievable difficulties and obstacles in your life. So let's see if you like this. This is Jeffrey Adams' story. Okay, we can do that. Just take a couple of minutes. Integrity.
I think our family model has the same future every family does. You're going to keep growing. You're going to keep moving forward. Whether it's in career, whether it's in your life, whether it's in your house, whether it's in your vehicles, you're going to keep moving forward, keep progressing. Just, we want everything that every family does. Good family, good child, good college, get great education, keep progressing in your job, not get laid off. And it's the same household problems everybody has, and that's the way we like it.
Is that interesting to you guys? You know, he says a few things in there that I think are really significant. You know, they're not members of the Unification Church. They're not spiritual. They're not me giving a sermon. But he says all very similar words, right? His compass is, where's his compass? Did you remember? His wife said his compass is internal. He doesn't have an external compass. He kept saying things like, esprit de corps, the spirit of the troops. Where's your spirit? Did his spirit get blown off when his leg went away? No, right? That's the point. His spirit is internal and isn't a functioning part of his body. It doesn't have something to do with how many fingers he has or how many toes or anything. His spirit is more powerful in a sense than what his body looks like, right? His wife said his compass is internal, not external. It doesn't matter what people say or what people do. It's his internal nature that makes the difference. So our point is, where does our internal nature come from? It comes from an internal source. It comes from the Spirit of God. The spirit of the troops comes from a spirit because they're spiritual people. We'll do one more, and then... By the way, Wounded Warriors is a great charity. If you want a charity, giving to Wounded Warriors is an excellent place to give. They're very authentic. It's run by veterans who've lost limbs or suffered terrible casualties. They are truly heroic, patriotic people. So if you want to give charity to something, I suggested this one. This is another one called Carlos de Leon, and it's about honor. Oh, sorry. You're right. Thank you.
What makes my dad special the way he is, the way he puts us before himself, the way he motivates you, the way he wants us to be above average.
My dad is the coolest guy in the world. He always makes me happy and that.
Carlos is devotion.
Anyway, I suggest you go to this site because it's so much like us, right? It's they have a lot of understanding of what it means. If you're wondering what happened to him, sorry we didn't show all of it, but he had a terrible head injury. He had his arms and legs, so that didn't bother him. But he has a terrible pain because he had injury to his brain. Nevertheless, right, you can see his family. He is striving to take care of his family. He's striving to be a true parent. He's striving to do what we all talk about. And interestingly enough, his family really loves him. Right? We always say integrity. How much does integrity, it's supposed to say weigh, W-I-G-H. Somebody made a mistake. I'll scold that person. How much does integrity weigh? Where is it? How big is it? How does it fit in the body? We say, obviously, look, these things aren't physical attributes. They aren't biological things. They're invisible. They're spiritual. What does integrity smell like? I just thought that would get a laugh out of somebody. Anyhow, yeah, obviously, these kinds of things are spiritual things that we're talking about. They aren't physical things, right? For example, this says, this is about him. He says, today is living with joy instead of pain. His wife, Jalitza, is pursuing a degree in nursing. His teenage son, Isaiah, is making plans for college. And his young daughter, Naja, sings, dances, and plays soccer. He says, before I joined the military, my life was a bit unstable, says De Leon. I wanted to find a purpose in life, said Carlos, about his reason for joining the army, and I felt being a soldier was one of the greatest purposes any American have. See, this is the people we should witness to. What is he looking for? A purpose in life. We got it. I would go over to my friends' houses, and I would see they had their father who was in the army, their mother, their nice house, their kids, all dressed nicely. I admired the stability and respect of those families. I saw how things could be, right? He sees the ideal of true parents and is striving to affect that in his own life. Same as us. We're chasing that dream of how do we create true parents and true families. Says these days Carlos is working to honor his country and his family now by creating the most choices for his children that he can. I want them to have so many options so they will never have to say they took one direction because they had no other possibilities. Being wounded can hurt a soldier like Carlos in many ways, but it can never hurt his positive outlook on life. Anyway, I suggest you go donate some money to those guys. They are real heroes, and they do always really need help. So we say integrity, honor, personality are those functions of biology, of our brain, or is matter of function of consciousness? You guys know the answer. We say internal character is subject to your body and external form, right? Our mind should dominate our body, not our body dominating our mind. This is from John Locke, the father of modern psychology. Anybody study him in college? Did you study Psychology 101? Then everybody studied John Locke, right? You know, he's always says, beginning of Psychology 101, John Locke is the father of modern psychology. This is what he writes about internal character. He says this: consciousness was recognized by the philosopher John Locke both as a great mystery and somehow central to personal identity. In his essay concerning human understanding, Locke famously asked us to consider a prince and a cobbler who retire for the night. And he says, you can imagine this. While they're sleeping, the contents of their respective consciousnesses are exchanged. The question Locke asks is, when each wakes up in the morning, will he be the same person? Sure, right? To this, Locke's answer is yes, both prince and cobbler have the same physical bodies, but when Locke asks, are they still the same person, here he answers no, because each will now have the memories and inner consciousness of the other. So in this respect, the prince has become the cobbler, and the cobbler has become the prince. Personal identity, Locke insists, is not the identity of the substance or the body, but the identity of consciousness, of the mind. That's why soldiers with loss of their bodies are still described as men, in fact, often as better men than you and me. Isn't that true? It's not your physical body that determines who or what you are. It's your mind and it's your spirit and who your spirit recognizes you are. Where is integrity? We did this one already. Okay, where is integrity? What about honor? More importantly, what about love? Where does love come from? Is it only a function of ourselves? Biologist says love is, now they always say love is just a function of the chemicals in your brain and your synapses firing off. We don't think so, and I'll give you some reasons why. Is it only a function of ourselves? If so, why do our cells fall in love? How did our cells know to fall in love? Where did that come from? Obviously, we think it doesn't come from just biology. For example, look at the world of nature, right? This is a picture of two people in love, a husband and wife, probably matched by true parents who are in love, and so safely conducting kissing in front of a full moon, right? Doesn't everybody, that's for, yeah, you get it. Anyhow, doesn't everybody think the full moon is beautiful and romantic? Yeah, don't we? Don't we all want to go for long walks on a beach in front of full moon? And by the way, this is universal. It's not just Americans or Western people or Europeans who think that. Look at this. Here's a beautiful young couple dancing in the moonlight on a wonderful beach, enjoying nature. Why does nature seem to conspire to create romantic scenes for us? Doesn't it seem like there's some kind of conspiracy there? We like full moons and the moon becomes full, right? We like romantic beaches and beaches become romantic. Isn't that interesting? Doesn't everyone want to go for a walk on a romantic moonlit beach with your true love? Everybody does, right? Everybody does. Everybody wants to experience nature. Somehow nature understands the love of human beings. Isn't that so? It is, isn't it? Anybody can see that, and anybody knows it. And everybody who doesn't know it intellectually feels it in their heart. Everyone feels that's true. Somehow nature and the universe conspire to relate to human love. Okay, here's where science comes in. John Gribbett and Martin Rees wrote a detailed history in defense of the fine-tuning argument in their book, Cosmic Coincidences. And this is for the intellectually minded who don't just believe things are romantic by accident, right? According to Gibbon and Rees, carbon-based life was not haphazardly arrived at, but the deliberate end of a universe tailor-made for human beings. That made sense? That the idea of the moon being romantic or romantic beaches being a place that inspires human love isn't a coincidence. These are two cosmological scientists who believe, no, it doesn't make any sense. It seems like the world was made for human beings. It's just not an accident. In 1913, the chemist Lawrence Joseph Henderson wrote The Fitness of the Environment, one of the first books to explore concepts of fine-tuning in the universe. Henderson discusses the importance of water and the environment with respect to living things, pointing out that life depends entirely on the very specific environmental conditions on Earth, especially with regard to the prevalence and properties of water. He says it's too lucky. For example, if you were just an atheist who thought, wow, things just happen to you, then you'd think, wow, how lucky we are that water is liquid on our planet. You know why? Because there's no other liquid water anyplace else in the universe that we can find. The Hubble telescope's looking at all the planets. There's no liquid water anywhere except on this planet. So we're pretty lucky, right? Or we're lucky that we are in the right distance from the sun to be able to keep water liquid. We're lucky that we have a moon that's just the right size that creates tides that oxygenates our ocean so that we can be able to have a life-giving oceanic system. We're lucky that we have free oxygen and the perfect concentration on the Earth. For example, if the Earth was 100% oxygen, all life would die within a matter of days because pure oxygen is poisonous. Did you know that? If you breathe pure oxygen too long, you're going to poison yourself and you're going to die, and it breaks down life. That's why if you cut an apple and you put it on the shelf, it all turns brown and its oxygen is destroying it. Did you know that? So fortunately, somehow we're lucky we have free oxygen and the perfect concentration of oxygen on Earth, and so on and so forth. We're luckier and luckier and luckier and luckier, and after a while we realize we just can't be that lucky. There must be a plan behind this. There must be some idea. There must be a creator behind this whole system of luck. And that's why when we see these romantic interludes in nature, it isn't luck. It's a plan. In 1961, the physicist Robert H. Dicke claimed that certain forces in physics, such as gravity and electromagnetism, must be perfectly fine-tuned for life to exist anywhere in the universe. Perfectly. To the point of 120 decimal places perfect. I mean, it's so perfect they can't even measure how perfect it is. And we can't be that lucky. And you can, if you want to read a really good book on this, you can read Life After Death, the Evidence by Dinesh D'Souza. And he has all these physicists, all this information down for you. He says, unlike many books about afterlife, life after death makes no appeal to religious faith, divine revelation, or sacred texts, drawing on some of the most powerful theories and trends in physics, evolutionary biology, science, philosophy, and psychology. D'Souza shows why the atheist critique of immortality is irrational and draws a striking conclusion that it is reasonable to believe in life after death, not by religious faith, but by the science of new physics, new quantum mechanics, and philosophy. Anyway, you can read it if you like. It's pretty good. Nevertheless, we still believe that nature conspires to true love, right? Those two people believe it. When we see flowers and candies and strawberries, and this is ancient. From ancient times, people believe in the same things, right? They could feel it. That's why somehow strawberries become romantic, and you serve them at weddings and marriages and things like that. And flowers, somehow when we see flowers, we enjoy it. That's what springtime's about, right? It's about romantic love, flowers. Don't women like this? How many women here like to receive flowers from their husband? Did we get 100%? 100% almost. Okay, good. Anyway, we're on the right track. Look, we always somehow flowers which occur naturally in nature. No human-made flowers, but still somehow flowers and romance automatically go together, as if the universe is conspiring to make an atmosphere of love for human beings. Look at this. Beautiful walk on the beach, handsome man, beautiful woman, flowers, petals, all the accoutrement of true love here, right? A ring that says, I'm committed to you forever, sweetheart. I'll never fail. I'll love you indefinitely. That's what that gold ring means. That's why we use gold, by the way, because it doesn't tarnish. And if you don't think you believe it, Reverend Mrs. Moon do, they see the same thing in nature, right? They see the same thing. Flowers, spring, Mrs. Moon, beauty, love, romance. It's all created by God for one reason, for us to grow into becoming the true image of God on earth, right? Fred Hoyle, a British astronomer, also argued for a fine-tuned universe in his 1984 book, Intelligent Universe. Hoyle wrote, would you not say to yourself, some super-calculating intellect must have designed the properties of the carbon atom? Right? He wrote a book on, he's a scientist who wrote a book on the importance of carbon in the universe. And then he said when he studied the formula for carbon, he realized the influences of the universe to create so much carbon, it's impossible for it to happen just by accident or chance. So anyway, he says, some super-calculating intellect must have designed the properties of the carbon atom. Otherwise, the chance of my finding such an atom through the blind forces of nature would be utterly minuscule. A common-sense interpretation of the fact suggests that a super-intellect has monkeyed with physics, as well as with chemistry and biology, and that there are no blind forces we're speaking about in nature. The numbers one calculates when the facts seem to be overwhelming as to put this conclusion almost beyond question. Right? So modern physicists are now understanding that that nature isn't accidental. There isn't random chance creating carbon atoms or life or the amount of oxygen in the air or the size of the moon or any of those kinds of things. But it just seems too much luck. So atheists, we say, are losing the battle. The world is fine-tuned for you to grow to become the image of God. See? That could be you. Should be. Anyhow, some people are more human than others, or more close to human. Does that mean that some people are further away from being human? This is the warning side. We always do the warning side too, right? If we say some soldiers who overcome fear, who overcome disabilities, who overcome handicaps, who overcome all these things, and through their deep honor and integrity represent humanity better, maybe than you and I. Does that mean some people misrepresent humanity better than you or I? Yeah, actually, that's a really important point. It would be great if just growing to become the image of God was just a natural impulse that you woke up in the morning and you were the divine son or daughter of God, but it isn't. It takes energy and effort. It takes ability to overcome fallen nature. This is the words from Reverend Moon. There were several consequences of the fall of man. One, the dignity and authority of God were damaged. In addition, man was separated from his intended state and fell into the dungeons of hell. At the same time, a portion of the angelic world also fell. Finally, all the things of creation were brought down, right? So we struggle with nature. We struggle with disease. We struggle with our own body. Thus it happened that everything suffered when man fell, including the dignity of God. And since then, the entire creation has been trapped in a place of sorrow and despair because we don't understand really. We're beginning now, the beginning of the 21st century, human beings are beginning to understand how to love plants and animals, right? But so how long did we not understand that? We're beginning to get a defense of the environment, a conservation of our natural resources, which are good ideas, right? But we didn't have that for so long. The world has become sick, but in the same way that patients cannot cure themselves, the world is helpless to restore itself. Who will come to restore the world? There's only one superior person who has the ability, power, and will to bring man back to his original place, and that's God. And that's why we come to church on Sunday. And that's why we study. And that's why we worship. And that's why we make effort to overcome our fallen nature and weaknesses towards temptations. The fallen process has been like a healthy person becoming ill, and in reverse process, man must be restored to his original place by reversing the process of the fall. The work of salvation is equivalent to the work of restoration and involves bringing a person from an abnormal state back to his original state, just like bringing a sick person back to health. Salvation and restoration are the same, but the point of observation is different. From God's point of view of man who is to be saved, the process is restoration. That means we were supposed to originally be healthy, originally grow to perfection, originally fulfill our true divine potential. But we're not there. We're being blocked from that. We need to return to that original state. And that's what we're trying to do through the blessing, through our life of faith, through our life of love, by creating true families and pursuing the ideal of true parents. Colossians 3:12, therefore, as God's chosen people, holy and dearly loved, that's us, clothe yourselves with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. Bear with each other and forgive one another if any of you has a grievance against someone. Forgive as the Lord forgave you, and over all these virtues put on love, which binds them all together in perfect unity. That's us, right? So we say you are your internal character, integrity, honor, loyalty, obedience, and your own perspective of yourself. Who are you? When people ask Jesus, who are you? He said, I'm the Son of God. He didn't say I'm Jewish or I'm whatever or I'm a citizen. I'm the Son of God. It is those internal virtues that will define you eternally, and how we create them, develop them, and make them manifest on the earth is the essence of our life of faith here on this earth. It isn't your material wealth, and it's not your external education. Although those are good, and for second and third generation, they're really important. We encourage you to go to college, to get a degree, to make material success. We encourage that. Nevertheless, that's not all who you are. Therefore, as God's chosen people, holy and dearly loved, clothe yourself with gratitude and knowledge of God. God loves us. God created this universe. Again, it's not a coincidence. The food, interestingly enough, one of the interesting things I read about is about diet. I don't know if you realize this, but I'm getting older. And as I get older, I'm more interested in health. And you can read about various different kinds of diets. Remember the Atkins diet? There was an Atkins diet. There's all kinds of diets. One of the most interesting diets, and probably the closest to perfect, is the Mediterranean diet. What's the Mediterranean diet say to do? You guys don't know? It's all right. It says eat natural food. It means just eat fruits and vegetables. It means drink olive oil and grape juice and eat fresh fruits and stuff like that, right? What was that? It's just saying, and eat fish. Eat fresh fish caught in the ocean, right? What are all those things? They're all things made by God for you. And if we just ate those things made by God for us, we would be healthier. That's what all they agree to now. Just eat natural things made by God, whole grains, fresh vegetables, salmon, fish, things like that, olive oil, and you're going to be healthy, strong, and full of life. By the way, they say eggs are healthy now too. Eat eggs, right? And since God made all those things, we should return love to God who made all those delicious things for us. Appreciation, gratitude, prayer to God, our heavenly parent. There are internal laws to the universe. Since we're talking about internal things, there are internal laws to our universe that we must obey. For example, sexual purity before marriage, and more importantly, sexual satisfaction after marriage. You can't do one without the other. Some people think, well, sexual purity before marriage, that's great. Yeah, it's good, it's okay, but it doesn't fulfill the purpose of creation. Sexual satisfaction after marriage, of course, a whole nother sermon, but sexual satisfaction after marriage is essential to build God's kingdom of heaven on earth. It's essential to becoming an owner of Changyol Guk. Loving each other with sacrificial love. It can't be just my happiness or the road. We have to love each other with sacrificial love. Love our children, respect and honor our parents. Amen. Amen? God bless you. Thank you for listening so long and patiently. Why don't we have a round of applause? We'll turn off the recorder.